It was late in the evening, and Marcus had left Simone in the office. Left her warmth, her whispered confession, her fragile faith in him. He sat motionless in his Mercedes G-Wagon, the rain hammering down in relentless sheets, each drop streaking across the windshield like lines of judgment. His hands rested heavy on the wheel, not in calm, but in restraint. Every muscle in his body wound tight. The silence inside the car pressed down as heavily as thunder. He started the engine, but not before looking back at the building one last time. Marcus, a man who commanded boardrooms, felt powerless. Simone's face lingered in his mind, her pleas, her shaking hands, the way she had clung to him as if letting go meant losing more than love. He closed his eyes, his forehead resting against the wheel for just a moment. When he finally spoke, it was barely more than a whisper. Marcus, hoarse. "God, what am I doing?" The storm answered with thunder, shaking the ground beneath the car. He straightened, jaw set, and started the engine. He pressed the accelerator, the tires slicing through rain-slick streets. He didn't want to go home, but where else could he go? Every road seemed to lead to a choice he wasn't ready to face. He wasn't steering toward peace, but toward a collision. Marcus's G-Wagon carved its way through downtown Seattle. The streets were washed in silver rain, reflections of neon signs and taillights fractured in the puddles, a city alive but restless. Like it, too, sensed the collision he was driving toward. The red glow of a stoplight bled through the windshield, painting Marcus's face like a wound. He stared into it, motionless, until a horn blared behind him, pulling him forward again. His tires roared against the wet pavement, as if the city itself demanded he choose a path. But the truth pressed heavier than any storm. Marcus King wasn't battling his heart. He already knew it belonged to Simone. He was battling the choices that would decide if he dared to follow it. When he reached the penthouse garage, the storm hissed against the concrete, mist rolling in from Elliott Bay. He pulled his G-Wagon into the penthouse garage and sat there, overwhelmed and frustrated. Marcus's head reeled from the thought of going inside to face Elena, and it filled him with a heavy sense of dread. Not because he feared confrontation, no, he was always ready for battle, but because he knew deep down that an inevitable end of a decade-long marriage was now inching toward its unavoidable conclusion. The decision weighed heavily and pressed down on his heart, and Marcus's thoughts spiraled into a whirlwind of confusion. He realized that facing Elena meant he had to face the possibility of losing everything. Marcus knew that a decision had to be made. He understood that he needed to choose a path, yet the idea paralyzed him. Elena helped him build his empire, and he knew that leaving her could cost him everything he had built. Elena was the epitome of a billionaire's wife. She carried herself with graceful poise, like a fixture in every famous glossy magazine spread. Yet, despite her many admirable qualities, she couldn't fill the profound void left by the loss of Marcus's mother. Simone had a light Elena could never imitate. Her laughter reminded Marcus of Sunday mornings with his mother, filled with gospel music, delicious food, and the sweet scent of jasmine flowers drifting in through the cracked windows. Simone's presence carried the connection that he had deeply missed. Her light offered him a warmth his heart yearned for, reminded him of the love and joy that once filled his life. But in Elena's company, Marcus often felt a deep emptiness in his soul, leaving his heart aching, and him with a longing that made him hurt all over. A man surrounded by perfection, yet desiring something real. The thought of returning home yielded waves of anxiety, prompting Marcus to seek refuge in a drink rather than face the painful reality awaiting him. Marcus relinquished his usual control to drive himself to his own destinations. He called his executive assistant, Rachel, asking her to hire a driver to take him away from what felt like an insurmountable decision. When the driver arrived at the penthouse garage, Marcus climbed into the sleek black sedan, leaving the parked Mercedes behind. The journey to an upscale hotel bar felt like a necessary escape, an attempt to momentarily drown his sorrows. As he settled onto a bar stool, he ordered his first drink, each sip an effort to quiet the turmoil within him. Minutes passed, and then hours slipped by, and with each drink, Marcus sought comfort from the overwhelming decisions hanging over his head. When the bar began to blur around him, his driver helped him back to the car and drove him home. Marcus stumbled into his penthouse elevator, which occupied the entire 32nd floor. He felt the weight of facing Elena pressing down on him, a constant reminder of all the efforts he had poured into building his empire. Once inside the dimly lit penthouse, Marcus managed to avoid Elena, and he found comfort in the main guest room, collapsing onto the bed, too intoxicated to shed his clothes, and too consumed by his thoughts to find rest. He lay there, with his eyes fixed on the ceiling. He couldn't escape the memories of Simone, missing her kisses and her touch. He loved the way Simone tasted, the warmth of her body, the smell of her scent, and the way she moaned when he made love to her. Tears welled in Marcus's eyes as he shook, ached, and longed as the realization pressed heavily upon him that he was the only man who ever touched her, held her, or made love to her. Simone was his and his only. A desperate need surged within him, wanting to wake up beside her and never face the world without her again. The intimate moments they had shared wrapped him in a gentle sadness. Marcus had always prided himself on his strength, never shedding a tear even as a young boy. He felt it was his duty to be the strong man for his mother, who raised him on her own. At her funeral, a single tear escaped down his cheek, a rare display of vulnerability. But now, as he thought of Simone, he found himself troubled by an unexpected wave of emotion. Why do my tears flow so easily at the thought of her? Marcus wondered with a heavy heart. Despite his best efforts to understand, he found himself lost in a sea of feelings that he couldn't quite grasp. Meanwhile, across town, as the rest of Seattle slept, Simone sat in her kitchen beneath the dim light of a single pendant lamp. The clock on the wall ticked past midnight. Her elbows rested on the table, her fingers entwined, her Bible open but unread in front of her. She found herself lost in thought, trying to understand the deep and heartfelt bond that had uniquely connected her to Marcus in such an overwhelming way. Her thoughts were a tide she couldn't calm. She whispered into the stillness, "What have I done?" As a devout Christian, Simone had always intended to wait until marriage for intimacy. Yet with Marcus, everything shifted in an unexpected moment of passion that she couldn't undo. Her heart battled her conscience. Why did I open my heart to Marcus, give myself to him, and let go of my beliefs that I have held for so long? The wind outside pressed softly against the windows. Somewhere, a ferry horn moaned across the bay. She closed her eyes and imagined it carrying her guilt away, but the ache in her chest only deepened. For most of her life, Simone had focused on her education, her career, and her faith. Her family miles away in New Orleans, cheering her every step. She had always chosen purpose over romance until Marcus came along. Now, even her prayers felt heavy. She bowed her head, praying, "God, please, don't let this be my downfall. Let it be something that leads me closer to what you want for me." The rain continued its steady rhythm against the glass, a lullaby for a heart torn between love and conviction. Yet everything changed in Simone's world the moment she laid eyes on Marcus King, the strikingly handsome CEO of King's Security, who made her heart race in a way she had never experienced before. It was as if the universe had flipped upside down. She felt an undeniable spark, love at first sight. It was supposed to be a typical Monday morning, an orientation, a handshake, a polite introduction. But when she stepped into his office for the first time, she felt it, a burning so unexpected that it took her breath away, filling her with a warmth that swept through her like a gentle embrace. Simone found herself captivated, unable to resist stealing glances at him whenever he entered the room. She would daydream about their interactions, lost in thoughts of him. This overwhelming feeling was new to her, and she struggled to understand why she felt such a deep longing for Marcus, a man who seemed to ignite something profound within her. When he kindly encouraged her to call him Marcus instead of Mr. King, that simple request melted something inside her. It was no longer just respect, it was connection. From that moment on, he wasn't just her boss. He was the man who made her heart melt with a blend of desire and emotion that was both exhilarating and frightening. Despite the guilt that plagued her conscience, Simone couldn't deny the depth of her feelings for Marcus. She struggled to forgive herself for breaking her own vows, especially with a married man. But she knew, deep down, that love like this wasn't born from weakness. It was the kind of connection that demanded courage, even when it came cloaked in complication. The rumors in the office, the risk to her career, none of it mattered anymore. Marcus had seen her for who she truly was, not just another executive or strategist, but a woman with a soul as fierce as his ambition. Love, complicated as it was, had found her, and she couldn't let it go, no matter the risks. She whispered, as if the rain itself might carry her confession away. God, if this is wrong, then why does it feel so right? Morning light spilled through the tall glass windows, touching steel and marble, reflecting a city already moving beyond the quiet walls that confined him. Marcus woke to the faint sound of glass clinking in the kitchen, Elena moving somewhere in the distance. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his watch, but not reading the time. He felt a wave of anxiety wash over him as he quickly showered and dressed. He couldn't bring himself to face Elena. Before she could speak, he quietly slipped out of the house, hoping to find some peace away from the tension that lingered between them. As the elevator doors slid shut, he caught his reflection in the mirrored wall. Flawless suit, red-rimmed eyes, the look of a man holding his empire together with sheer will. He left the penthouse before the city was fully awake, stopping for a coffee near Pike Place. The air smelled of salt and roasted beans, and vendors were rolling up their awnings. For a while, Marcus watched the morning crowd move past, ordinary lives unfolding, while his own felt anything but simple. He bought some jasmine flowers from a flower cart because they reminded him of Simone, and he secretly placed them on her desk before anyone arrived at the office. Hours later, after wandering through meetings that blurred together, Marcus drove back through downtown, past the ferries cutting the bay, the hum of the monorail overhead, before finally turning toward home. At home, Marcus felt the weight of his choices. He knew he could no longer avoid facing Elena and the storm that awaited him. The skyline glowed against the evening rain when he stepped through the penthouse door. Elena sat in the living room, her crystal glass frozen mid-air. "You are finally home, Marcus. You've been so distracted and distant lately," Elena said coolly. "I've been working," Marcus answered. Elena's eyes lingered, sharp as glass. "Don't insult me, Marcus." A deep furrow creased Marcus's brow as he made his way across the room. Yet, as he glanced over at Elena, he found her gaze holding him in place and pinning him in a silent understanding of anger, and the fury in her eyes made him pause. Marcus set his glass down with a sharp clink. "Be careful, Elena." She took another step closer, eyes blazing. "No, Marcus, you should be careful, because storms end, and when they do, everyone will see your lies and all that you've been hiding in the dark." The silence that followed was heavier than the loudest thunder. Marcus's gaze burned with restrained fury as he broke from Elena's stare. His jaw tightened, and with a sharp exhale, he turned away, shoulders rigid as he walked down the hall. In the bathroom, he braced himself against the sink. The mirror offered no solace, only the reflection of a man unraveling. His tie hung loose, his mask gone, his eyes dark with secrets he could no longer hide or control. His knuckles whitened as thunder rumbled faintly beyond the glass walls of the penthouse. "I built this empire to be untouchable," he exclaimed, "but without Simone, I'm already breaking." Lightning flared, scattering his reflection into fragments. In the living room, Elena paced with her glass in hand, pacing like a caged animal. The fake smile she'd worn earlier was gone, replaced by something darker, fury curling through her like fire. "You think you're untouchable, Marcus?" she muttered low and venomously to herself. "Let's see how untouchable you are when I decide to rip the mask from your perfect empire." The The storm rattled the glass walls, but it was Elena's silence that felt most dangerous of all. Marcus carried himself to the main guest room, the silence of the penthouse pressing heavier than any storm outside. He sat on the edge of the bed, shoulders bent, then finally lay back, staring at the ceiling. Sleep never came. His mind circled between Simone's warmth and Elena's fury, between the stolen moments that made him feel alive and the home that now felt like a cage. Restless, he rose and walked barefoot through the dark penthouse. The city's glow bled softly through the windows. He passed the master suite. The door stood slightly ajar and he paused. Inside, Elena lay asleep. The half-drained glass on her nightstand caught the light like a silent witness. Even in sleep, her jaw was locked tight. Rage didn't leave her. It only slept. Marcus lingered at the doorway, shoulders heavy, knowing he would never bridge the distance between them. Not anymore. He shut the door softly and walked away. He stood alone at the windows, which stretched from floor to ceiling, staring out at the skyline. The rain had stopped, but streaks remained, cutting across the glass like scars. His reflection hovered there, a man split between two worlds, neither offering peace. He pressed his palm against the glass, the city glittering cold beyond. Marcus, low to himself. I've built everything, except the life I want. The skyscrapers reflected back at him, unyielding, as though reminding him that no empire could shield him from his own choices. Finally, he turned away and returned to the guest room, slipping back into his restless sleep. Early in the morning, he showered, steam rising to blur his reflection in the glass. The hot water beat against him, but it couldn't wash away the storm inside. Dressing in a clean, pressed suit, he straightened his collar with hands that trembled despite his control. Before Elena could stir, Marcus slipped quietly through the penthouse, leaving only silence in his wake. The hum of King's Security's offices was steady, polished, and efficient. Marcus walked the corridors untouched, his presence as sharp as his tailored suit. Rumors scattered when he passed. No one dared let them attach to him, but Simone. She felt every word like a bruise. That morning, she stood at the podium in the main conference room, the company logo glowing behind her. Department heads, board members, and analysts filled the space, some eager, some skeptical. Our numbers don't just show growth, she said, voice calm but steady. They show resilience. In a market where competitors are collapsing, we're leading through it, not by luck, but by foresight and strategy. Board member Holt leaned back with a smirk. Resilience or favoritism? Simone didn't flinch. She clicked the next slide, numbers cascading across the screen. Simone's tone sharpened. Every strategy here is data-backed. Every adjustment is aligned with market needs. This isn't favoritism, it's foresight. Her voice carried firm conviction, although her pulse was racing. A ripple passed through the long table. Some leaned forward, nodding. Others traded glances, whispers flickering like sparks in the dark. The sound of pens scribbling broke the silence. A few heads nodded. Someone even clapped once before catching themselves. At the head of the table, Marcus watched in silence, the perfect CEO, composed, impenetrable, though beneath the surface, his fists tightened. When Simone finished, polite applause followed. She gathered her notes with unhurried precision, refusing to rush, refusing to bow. The meeting ended in scraped chairs and muted conversations. As she passed Holt, his voice slithered low. Impressive. Though we all know why your projects get greenlit so quickly. Her jaw tightened, but she kept walking, heels clicking like punctuation marks of defiance. Despite the tension, she held her head high, trying to project confidence even as a storm brewed inside her. In the hallway, whispers followed like shadows. Laughter too quiet to be anything but cruel floated behind her. Simone kept her head high, but her shoulders carried the weight of every whisper. At her office door, Maria appeared, friend, confidant, and anchor. Her voice cut softly through the tension-filled air. Ignore them, Maria said. They're vultures circling because they know you're strong enough to fly. Simone turned, her guard cracking for the first time all morning. Maria leaned casually against the door frame, coffee in hand, eyes warm with understanding. "It doesn't feel like flying," Simone murmured. "It feels like bleeding in front of an audience." Maria stepped inside with her, closing the door on the noise outside. "Let them watch," she said gently. "You're not just surviving, you're thriving despite their gossip. You're showing strength that most people couldn't hold together for a day. Remember who you are: intelligent, successful, beautiful, kind. Don't let them see you sweat." Simone sank into her chair, her hand shaking slightly as she fussed with the notes on her desk. For the first time that morning, she allowed herself to exhale. By late afternoon, the office had quieted. Keyboards stopped clattering, doors shut, and laughter from departing employees drifted like echoes down the hall. Only the faint hum of the vents remained. Simone sat at her desk, the glow of her monitor soft against her tired face. Papers lay untouched beside her. She'd read the same line 3 times without absorbing a word. Maria's words had helped, but the weight of whispers still clung like a second skin. A soft knock broke the silence. She didn't need to look up. She already knew. Marcus filled the doorway, his loosened tie and softened eyes erasing the reach of the day. The mask he wore in boardrooms was gone. "It sounds like you've had a tough day," he said quietly. She gave a faint smile. "Depends who you ask. According to half this building, I'm the downfall of your empire." Marcus stepped inside, closing the door gently behind him. His voice dropped to something private, meant only for her. "Funny, from where I stand, your success is one of the key reasons this place thrives, and the main reason I can breathe and hope again, Simone." Her laugh came out small, uncertain, but it cracked the wall she'd held up all day. "You can't say things like that here, Marcus." "Not when every wall has ears." "Then let's not stay here," he said. Her brow lifted, suspicion mingling with curiosity. "And where exactly are we going?" "Dinner," Marcus said with a rare, boyish grin. "Just the 2 of us. No meetings, no whispers." Simone hesitated, then leaned back in her chair with a smile that lit her face. "Dinner. Fine, but only because I'm starving." Relief softened the sharp edges of Marcus's expression. He reached for her coat and held it out to her. Their hands brushed, a brief, electric touch. They stepped into the empty corridor together. For the first time that day, Simone's shoulders felt lighter. The buzz of the lights followed them out, leaving the whispers behind, at least for one night. As luck would have it, Marcus knew just the place, a low-lit jazz club tucked on the other side of town, hidden behind an unmarked door where the air hummed with saxophones and the scent of rich food. Inside, candles flickered on every table. Indigo light spilled across the stage where a trumpet bent into a slow, aching note. Conversations blurred into the hum of music, soft, alive, but private. They slipped into a quiet booth in the back, half hidden in shadows. Their knees brushed beneath the table. Marcus ignored the menu, his attention fixed entirely on her. "You brought me to a secret spot," Simone teased. "Is this where all your hidden deals happen?" "Only the important ones," Marcus said, his smile curving. Their hands met on the table. At first accidental, then deliberate. His thumb traced the edge of her knuckles as if he needed proof she was real. Simone leaned forward, whispering something that made Marcus laugh. Not the polished laugh of a CEO, but the unguarded sound of a man who had forgotten anyone else existed. Dinner arrived. Seared salmon, roasted potatoes, broccoli, garlic parmesan chicken, and asparagus. Marcus pushed his breadbasket toward her. Simone smiled. "I never pegged you for the sharing type." Marcus smiled back. "With you, I'm still learning what I am." They talked about everything and nothing. Her New Orleans summers, his first big contract, songs they grew up with. The jazz became a heartbeat between them, filling the silence with something warm and alive. When the final song faded, they stepped into the night. The storm had passed, leaving a soft summer breeze that brushed their skin like kisses. The city glistened. Neon lights shimmered. Marcus laced his fingers with hers, and their fingers fit so naturally as they walked toward a nearby park. They stopped at the rail, looking out at the water in silence. The hush of the breeze tangled with the faint ripple of waves. For a moment, it felt as if they stood outside of time, suspended between reality and a dream. Marcus's hand tightened around hers, his chest rising and falling with unspoken words. He almost hesitated, his jaw working as though speaking those words might undo him. For once, the man who always commanded rooms looked uncertain, powerless. Marcus, voice shaky with emotion. "Simone, I need you more than I can ever put into words," he said, his voice low and rough. "More than I've ever needed anything. I love you so deeply that I find it hard to express." Simone's lips parted, her breath catching as if the words had stolen her defenses. She reached up, her palm against his cheek, her touch trembling. "Simone," softly, "then don't say it. Show me." And he did, kissing her with a desperate tenderness that felt like release and ruin all at once, unrestrained, as if their lives depended on it. She pressed closer, answering with the urgency of everything she'd kept locked inside. The world faded away, leaving only the warmth of their skin and the rhythm of their heartbeats. Their bodies pressed so close, anchored only by the truth neither could deny anymore. The summer breeze curled around them, carrying away every whisper, leaving only the sound of their hearts and the city alive behind them. Marcus and Simone barely made it back to the G-Wagon before the urgency between them spilled over, like two people who had been holding a lifetime of wanting in silent cages. Marcus's kiss was deep and sudden, like a man surfacing for air after being underwater too long. Inside, the heat from their desire steamed the glass, street lamps throwing fractured light across their faces. They were breathless, desire breaking through their restraint. Marcus's hands gripped Simone's waist, pulling her into him, and she melted against him with a desperate need that matched his own, discovering one another as if they had been yearning for this moment for a lifetime. Simone, whispering, trembling. "Marcus, what are we doing?" He gently touched her face, his voice low and raw. "What I wish I could have done the first time I saw you, embrace you and love you with all my heart. Loving you isn't a choice anymore, Simone. It's the only truth I have." Their lips met again, deeper, hungrier, clothes loosened in the scramble of need. Not planned, not careful, but simply because there was no other way to close the distance. The air fogged with their breath, every kiss an unspoken promise. Simone gasped softly when he entered her, cradling her face and looking deeply into her eyes, his thumb brushing away the tears she hadn't realized were there. Marcus leaned his forehead against hers, their breaths mingling in the charged silence. "You're not my escape, Simone. You're the only place I belong." Simone's response wasn't words, but surrender, her fingers tangling in his hair, pulling him closer until the world outside vanished. And when the storm inside them finally ebbed, they dressed in silence, still looking at each other intensely, knowing they couldn't wait long before finding their way back into this fire of each other's embrace. Later, at Simone's house, Marcus barely let the door click shut before his lips found hers again. The kiss was deep, critical, like a man claiming his place in the world. Her fingers tangled in his shirt, tugging, needing him closer. He pressed her gently against the wall, his mouth trailing fire along the line of her jaw, down the curve of her neck. She shuddered, a soft sound escaping her lips as her breath trembled, conveying a blend of fear and awe that touched the soul and stirred deep passion. Marcus, low, raw. "I can't let you go." "Not now. Not ever, Simone." He lifted her effortlessly, carrying her toward the bedroom, their lips barely parting. Not a single spot on her body was untouched. He was kissing her in places that could only be visualized in the dark. Each kiss was deeper, more desperate, every kiss blocking out the world outside as if it didn't exist. When Marcus finally entered Simone, time blurred as they gave into everything unspoken between them. As their bodies trembled with pure pleasure, climaxing in an explosion of ecstasy, And when the intensity finally subsided and the sheets drenched in sweat, they lay together in the quiet afterglow, her head against his chest, his arms locked around her as though he'd never wanted to let go. Marcus pressed a kiss to Simone's forehead, whispering what he was no longer afraid to admit. "I love you so much, Simone." Simone's smile curved softly and luminously in the shadows. "I love you so much too, Marcus." "It's a love that fills my heart completely, even in the times when it hurts." Marcus woke to the warmth of sunlight streaming through Simone's curtains, golden and insistent. For a moment, he stayed still, unwilling to break the spell of her arm draped across his chest, the rise and fall of her breathing steady against him. He didn't want to leave. The thought of walking out that door, of letting go of the only happiness he'd known in years, ached like a wound that couldn't be healed. Simone stirred beside Marcus, eyes still half closed, a soft smile brushing her lips. He leaned in, kissed her gently on her cheek, and memorized her face in the light of morning. For a heartbeat, it was easy to pretend, easy to believe the world outside didn't exist. But reality pressed in. The phone on the nightstand buzzed, a calendar reminder, a board meeting. Marcus slipped from the bed, quickly showered and dressed, and tightened his tie like armor. In the mirror, he looked like Marcus King again, CEO, untouchable. But beneath the fabric, he was raw, unfinished, aching with the memory of Simone's embrace. He didn't want to go, but he had to. Hours later, Simone stood at her window, watching the sunrise stretch over the sound. Her coffee had gone cold, untouched. Last night replayed in fragments, the laughter, the confession, the way his hands trembled when he held her face. She pressed a palm to her heart, whispering, "God, I know this is wrong, so why can't I stop myself?" The quiet of her home felt louder than any storm. She wanted to call him, but her guilt held her back. Her phone buzzed, a message from Marcus. "I can't stop thinking about you. I need to see you again." Tonight, Simone closed her eyes. Her lips trembled with both longing and fear. She typed a reply, then deleted it twice before finally sending, "We can't keep doing this, Marcus. We'll destroy everything." But when her phone chimed again, her resolve cracked. "Everything means nothing without you." She turned from the window, whispering to herself, "Then heaven help us both." The weekend didn't come quickly enough for their date at Alki Beach. The lavender dusk stretched across the beach, turning the sea to glass and the horizon to liquid fire. Music from a nearby cafe drifted over the boardwalk, mingling with the scent of grilled seafood and sweet coconut from a beach vendor. Marcus and Simone walked side by side, holding hands on the sandy beach. They shared a paper basket of fries and halibut, trading bites and stories between quiet laughter that faded into a comfortable silence broken only by the hush of the tide. They paused near the waterline where gulls cut across the fading light. Simone tipped her head back, watching a plane trace a silver line through the sky. Simone, every moment like this feels borrowed. Marcus, then let's make it ours while we have it. He stopped, watching her silhouette framed by the sun sinking into the sound. Something in him gave way, an impulse he didn't try to control. He stepped forward, caught her around the waist and lifted her clean off the sand. She gasped, laughing as he spun her around. The world blurred into motion, sky, sea, and her laughter. When he set her down, both were breathless. Before words could find them, he cupped her face and kissed her. Slow, deep, sure, the kind of kiss that stilled everything but the sound of the surf and their racing hearts. When their lips parted, he rested his forehead against hers, voice low and rough. "Marcus," softly, "you make the world feel like magic." Simone, warmly, "You make me feel everything good, all at once." The tide crept closer, cool water curling around their feet. City lights shimmered far behind them, but here they were alone, the world reduced to water, wind, and want. Marcus, hoarse whisper, "I don't want peace if it means being away from you." Simone, trembling but firm, "Marcus, if I am peace, and you truly love me, then stop fighting it. Stop hiding from it. Stop running from it. Choose us." He drew her close again, his hands firm at her waist. "Marcus," softly. "Yes, Simone. I promise that I will choose us every time." They stayed there as twilight wrapped them in a violet and gold hue. Waves brushed their ankles. Candles from the cafe flickered in the distance, and the night settled around them like a vow. When the moon rose, they lay side by side on the sand, her head resting on his chest, his fingers tracing idle circles along her arm. Neither spoke. The sea spoke for them, a rhythm steady, timeless, and infinite. They cherished their weekends together, seeking refuge from the weight of choices, whispers, rumors, gossip, and confrontations. A Saturday breeze skimmed the water as the Bainbridge Island ferry cut a pale wake across Elliott Bay. Simone's long braids lifted in the wind, framing her face like silk ribbons. She stood at the rail, eyes on the blue-gray horizon. Marcus softly settled next to her, creating a comforting presence as he gently took her hand in his. It felt like a quiet promise of support and comfort in that moment. They wandered Winslow Way, pausing at a tiny bookshop. Simone traced book spines like old friends. Marcus bought a worn copy of Song of Solomon, slipping it inside her bag like a secret love letter. On a shaded bench, she read verses in a hush, and he watched her as a man might memorize a loving prayer. Later, at a waterfront cafe, they sat close together. She playfully reached for some fries from his plate, her eyes sparkling with mischief. Marcus chuckled warmly, pretending to act like he would nibble on her fingers if he caught her in the act. Their infectious laughter filled the air, creating a moment of pure joy that wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. At dusk, the ferry carried them back. Seattle shimmered in lights across the bay. Marcus reached for her hand, lacing their fingers, slow, sure, steady. No rush, no secrets, just the tide, the skyline, and a love learning to breathe under the stars. Simone arrived at work early. She felt a surge of happiness bubbling inside her, though she tried to keep it hidden. With dark glasses shielding her eyes, she struggled to mask her joy, her expression carefully composed. An hour later, Marcus walked in, his demeanor calm and collected. Yet beneath the surface, he was experiencing a level of happiness he hadn't felt in a long time, a quiet joy that gave him hope. Maria noticed. She didn't ask, but she knew. Sometimes friendship meant watching without judgment. Marcus spent the day in a blur of meetings that barely registered. Contracts were signed, deals closed, but his mind remained anchored to Simone. He caught his reflection in the mirrored conference wall, impeccably dressed, perfectly composed, but behind the polish was exhaustion. When the boardroom emptied, Marcus loosened his tie and pressed his palms against the cool glass, staring out at the skyline. A knock sounded. Rachel, his executive assistant, stepped in. "Sir, Mrs. King called twice. She said it's important." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Tell her I'll be home late." Rachel hesitated. "You've been saying that a lot lately, sir." He turned, tone calm but clipped. "So then maybe she'll stop expecting otherwise." When she left, Marcus exhaled, staring at the city once more. Not long after, Marcus's phone buzzed again, a message from Elena. "Dinner tonight. We need to talk." He typed back, "I'll be there." The lie tasted bitter even as he sent it. He knew he had no intention of rushing home. At the midday strategy session, Simone's presentation stood out. She stood at the podium, every word measured, her strategy sharp enough to silence doubt. Clients leaned in, nodding, one even whispering admiration. Success threaded through the room, undeniable, no matter what gossip clung to the edges. Later, in the hallway, Maria brushed Simone's arm and lingered just long enough to make her point. Maria, softly, "Simone, you've already won more than they'll admit. You're already a winner." The words stayed with Simone for the rest of the day, serving as armor against the whispers that followed. Marcus couldn't wait until another weekend to spend with Simone. The city stretched wide beneath a crystal-clear sky. Stars shimmered between skyscrapers, and the Space Needle glowed like a beacon in the calm. It was Friday evening, after a long work week. and everyone had left for the weekend. Marcus sent a text with only 7 words: "Meet me on the office roof tonight." When Simone stepped through the rooftop door, she stopped, breath-catching. Jazz drifted from the playlist on Marcus's phone, soft saxophone and piano weaving through the still air. Candles lined the edge of the rooftop, scattered like tiny stars, their flames steady and gold against the dark. At the center, a linen-draped blanket awaited, accompanied by a chilled bottle of wine, a charcuterie board featuring brie and cheddar, prosciutto, grapes, crackers, and a plate of chocolate-covered strawberries glistening in the light. Marcus turned when she stepped into the glow, that small, disarming smile tugging at his mouth. "Simone, soft. You did all this for me?" Marcus smiled and said, "For us, in this moment, the world can't interrupt." He guided her to the blanket. The city murmured below, car lights moving like rivers of gold. He poured the wine. The glass caught the candlelight. "Marcus, low. I've built my empire and made billions of dollars, but none of that ever made me feel this close to peace." Simone, gazing at the skyline, "Maybe peace doesn't come from what we build, but who we find it with." They ate slowly, savoring the flavors, laughing, letting the music carry their conversation. When conversation faded, quiet stretched, a comfortable electric silence. Marcus reached out, his fingertips tracing the edge of her jaw as though memorizing the shape of her smile. Marcus, whispering, "I don't know where this road leads." "I know I don't want it to end." He leaned in. The scent of strawberries and wine lingered between them. Simone's breath caught, her eyes soft. She tilted toward him, and his lips met hers, unhurried, tender, a promise sealed in candlelight. The jazz deepened, the saxophone sighing around them. When their lips parted, he held her face in both hands, eyes searching hers. "Marcus, hoarse, sincere, promise me, when things get hard, you'll remember this moment." Simone, softly, "I will. It's the peace I'll hold on to." The city stretched endlessly and quietly beneath them, candles burning low, music playing steadily. Marcus drew her close, and they stayed like that, wine forgotten, heartbeat to heartbeat, while the stars kept their silent watch above. Sunday brought soft rain and the buzz of Pike Place Market. Marcus walked with an umbrella overhead with his arm around Simone's waist, stopped, and bought a single red rose at a stall without a word. Simone's smile answered what he didn't say. They shared fresh roasted nuts from a paper cone, their fingers brushing, laughter unguarded. Beneath the colorful gum wall, tourists gathered to capture memories of their visit. Marcus, with a warm smile, "Did you know, if I kiss you here, it will bind our hearts together for eternity?" Simone, giggling softly, replied, "You already hold my heart forever." Marcus brushed Simone's back lightly and said, vulnerable, "I want you to be with me forever, but I don't want to make you carry my burdens or the storm that I am facing." Simone turned lovingly and said, "I am here and I want to face it and fight through it together." That evening, they cooked in her kitchen, fried chicken, red beans and rice, jazz low. Simone guided him. "You are supposed to season by using your heart, not by using measured recipes." After their delicious dinner, Marcus washed dishes, his sleeves rolled up, and she saw the man she loved so deeply behind the facade. Later, curled together on the couch, city lights flickering through the window, Marcus said softly, "I don't want perfect. I want real, with you." Simone, barely above a whisper, "Then let's have a real relationship, and you stay with me." He stayed until the first light of dawn brushed her beautiful face in gold. Marcus felt as though stepping away from Simone's door that morning was akin to turning his back on life itself, leaving him with a heavy heart and a deep sense of sadness. By late Monday evening, the murmur of the building had subsided. One by one, doors closed, footsteps faded, and the office emptied. That was when Marcus appeared at Simone's door. He didn't mention dinner. Instead, he stood there for a moment, gaze gentle yet heavy, as if trying to convey all the unspoken feelings between them. Marcus loosened his tie. The facade of calmness had slipped away, leaving only the depth of his eyes, which spoke volumes about what they both felt but couldn't express. Simone looked up, their gazes locking. For a heartbeat, the air thickened, charged, but plagued with guilt. She shook her head no before he could speak, quiet, reluctant. Marcus's lips pressed into a thin line. He gave a slight nod and then said goodbye, quietly walking away. But as Marcus left the building, the sadness clung to him heavier than the night air. He paused at the curb, staring at the glow of her office window, wishing he could stay, wishing she'd said yes. When Marcus finally slid behind the wheel of his G-Wagon, his chest felt tight, his hands gripping the wheel harder than necessary. The engine rumbled, but he didn't start right away, because he knew where he had to go. And the thought of walking back into that penthouse, into Elena's cold fury and knowing suspicion, made his stomach twist. Marcus drove off slowly, headlights slicing through the street, carrying him away from the only place he wanted to be and toward the storm waiting at home. Marcus dreaded the thought of going home. The penthouse wasn't a sanctuary. It never had been. It was a showroom, a beautifully gilded cage, designed to showcase power and prestige, yet it often felt isolating, reflecting the weight of power and the burden of prestige. Elena was always perfection effortlessly. She was undeniably flawless and exuded elegance with every move. The kind of wife who looked good on his arm and impressed all the right people in boardrooms and at corporate events. But love? No. What bound them was strategy, not love or devotion. And now, every time Marcus walked into his penthouse, it felt like stepping into a theater where both of them knew their roles, but neither believed the script anymore. So, as he often did, he let the steering wheel of his G-Wagon turn not toward the penthouse, but toward Simone's house. Marcus parked across from Simone's house, headlights dimmed. The street was quiet, except for the rustle of summer trees, rain falling on his car window, and the faint sounds of the city beyond. He sat there for a long time, hands locked on the wheel, watching her windows glow with the life he wanted but couldn't claim. Every instinct begged him to go inside, to hold her, to kiss her, to love her, and to forget the rest of the world. But he stayed put. Respecting her wishes meant respecting the distance she asked for, no matter how much it burned. The ache in his chest deepened, longing twisting through every breath. Minutes became an hour. He leaned back in the leather seat, staring at her and the warmth of her home. It was the only place he felt at peace, yet it wasn't his to enter freely. But he couldn't leave. Inside, Simone sat curled on her couch, Bible open but unread. Every verse she looked at blurred with tears. She whispered, "Lord, give me strength to do the right thing." Her phone glowed, a message from Marcus saying he was outside. Her heart thudded. She walked to the window and saw the black G-Wagon idling outside. She didn't move for a minute. Then, before she could talk herself out of it, she grabbed her coat and went outside. Marcus stepped forward the moment she appeared, umbrella in hand. "Simone," she shook her head, already crying. "Why can't you just let me go?" His voice cracked. "Because I can't. I love you so much, and my heart won't let me." The umbrella slipped from his hand, forgotten. Rain fell between them, soft but relentless. She whispered, "This isn't love if it breaks everything around us." Marcus, with tears in his eyes, reached for her hand. "Then let it all break." And she fell into his arms once more. They moved to sit inside his car, rain drumming softly on the roof. Neither spoke. Their hands stayed intertwined, resting between them like a secret too fragile to name. Simone finally said, "I tried to pray it away. Every night. But every time I close my eyes, I see you." Marcus turned toward her, his voice low. "I see you everywhere I go, and every time I dream, it's about you." They leaned closer, not for passion this time, but for comfort, foreheads touching, breaths mingling in the small silence that felt like a confession. "I don't know how to stop," Simone whispered. Marcus spoke softly, almost as if he were whispering a sincere prayer. "Please don't stop. Perhaps we're never meant to stop loving each other. I promise, no matter what, I will always choose you, Simone." Eventually, with a heavy sigh, Marcus kissed Simone and said goodbye. The G-Wagon's engine started with a low growl, breaking the stillness, pulling him away from the only place that truly felt like home to him. Marcus softly murmured to himself, "I made a promise to Simone that I would always choose her, and it's time to be honest about my feelings and stop lying and pretending to everyone. I have to have a heartfelt conversation with Elena and let her know it's over. I want a divorce." I know that tonight will be difficult for Elena, but I hope she can understand. This is a tough decision that weighs heavily on my heart, but I must choose happiness, and my joy and happiness are with Simone. She means everything to me, and I cannot imagine another day without her by my side. As he contemplated the impending conversation, a sharp pain pierced his chest. His heart raced, making it feel like it would leap out of his body. He struggled to catch his breath, and a wave of nausea washed over him, twisting his stomach into tight knots. Reluctantly, Marcus started his Mercedes G-Wagon, feeling as if he were driving into a battlefield. He knew he had to go home, his penthouse, where he would gently end things with Elena, wanting to treat her with the compassion and respect she deserves. Marcus said with a sternness, "All the lies stop tonight. It's over, Elena." To be continued. But this isn't the end of our journey together. The Rhythm of Rain, Part 3, Fractures, is on its way. My beloved Queen of Love Stories family, I have a deep belief in the extraordinary strength of love, which can triumph over even the toughest challenges we face. I want to reach out to you all with a gentle heart. Do you think Marcus should end his marriage for the sake of his feelings for Simone? I invite you to share your thoughts and personal experiences in this conversation. Your insights are truly valued and essential as we navigate the complexities of love together. Please comment and share them. I also invite you to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's spread this message of hope. Please pass this story along to someone who also still believes that love is a treasure worth nurturing, fighting for, and never truly fades away. Together, we can support one another through the ups and downs of love and keep this beautiful story of love alive.
If you enjoyed this video, it would mean so much to me if you could like, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support not only inspires me, but also helps me create more content that I hope you will love. Thank you.
Cheers, and I wish you all the best as well. I look forward to our next time together.